Shit.
What's going on, guys? This is Casey Mitchell, better known as that One Leg Monster. We are here with Cailer Woolam on the Herbstrong podcast today. This is my third podcast of doing the interviews now. And we got a very, very elite 220-pound powerlifter in the house today. Very well known for his massive deadlifts. What's going on, man? Welcome to California.
What's up?
How are you?
Good, man. Everybody doing good here?
You've been hanging out with Sawyer, huh?
Yeah.
How's that?
It's been an experience, man. Learning a couple things about him.
That's
kind of getting the inside look at the Herbstrong operation.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah,
huh?
man. There's some things I didn't know about it. So
you're here at like the Rob Dyrdek 2.0
Basically,
factory that he's built over here. It's crazy.
He's even got me like skateboarding and stuff, man. Like
he does.
That's what I was doing before you got here.
He'd be getting people doing some stuff here every time they come here, man. So it's
Yeah.
a cool little place that he's got going on here. But yeah, man. So he told me a couple weeks when I was here with Andy and that you were coming, and I was like, I'm pumped because I fucking like deadlifting.
Hell
and
yeah.
now I got like one of the best deadlifters in the world coming in here, and figured like, hey, this is a good opportunity for me to sit here and podcast with you, but pick your brain on the podcast so everybody else can understand like, how the fuck do you do what you do at 220 pounds?
Yeah.
And so, a few days ago, about maybe 5 days ago, 6 days ago, you had
I'd say like a week. Yeah.
massive PR.
Had a nice little deadlift PR.
Little
and
one.
It's normally not something that happens in training, but it was kind of just the way training had been going really good. It was just in the cards for me to hit a PR in training. So, something that maybe on during other preps I would just save for the meet. I'd save that PR for the meet, but it was there this time and it moved pretty good.
And what was that little baby weight you did there? How much was that?
959 pounds. 435 kilos.
Massive.
Yeah.
At 220 pound body weight.
Yep.
It's fucking crazy, man. There's not a lot of guys at that weight in this world doing that kind of numbers like that.
Yeah.
So mad respect on that one,
Thank you.
How many years you been powerlifting now?
Well, let's see. So I kind of started when I was 14, and there was a break in there, so I can't really say it's been 10 years, but I mean, yeah, pretty much ever since I started doing it, I was pretty serious about it, and strength was like a priority. You know what I mean? So even though like I kind of had a little bit of a break from actually competing in powerlifting after high school, strength training was still the priority. I always pushed strength. I always tried to get like, bigger and stuff too. So I would train like a little bit like a bodybuilder too, but yeah, I always cared about the big three lifts, squat, bench, and deadlift.
Right.
So
and
those have always been the
your
priority.
other lifts that we were just talking about prior to, starting this podcast are starting to climb as well right now. So everything seems like this prep's going real well. You're very well known for your deadlifts. But like I was telling you, like I've noticed that your squat's starting to move pretty well now.
Yeah.
So that, like I was telling you about the whole three lifts thing. Like when I first power lift, I did the push pull, and it's like, people like thought it was cool. Even for me, they're like, oh, that's all right. But you don't get that mad respect until you do all three lifts.
Yeah, once
it's
you
a whole
start
different animal.
Getting the total in there, and you can actually, I don't know. That's when you can actually compete against people. Is when you kind of start having a total.
Right.
Yeah,
what
I mean?
Absolutely. Because like I said, I people thought it was cool that I did like bench and deadlift, but then when I did my first full power meet, that's when it was like the respect from the other powerlifters was like, dude.
Yeah.
All right, now you got a fucking total.
Yeah.
You really fucking did
sure.
it.
Yep.
And so what is your PRs on your other lifts that we got here going?
So currently my squat is at 661. Hoping to get a PR on that within like the next week. We'll see. If not this week, then definitely at the meet. It's been progressing. I've been hitting some like smaller little rep PRs here and there, and then hitting some weights that I remember before that I've done before, but then now maybe they're moving a little easier.
Right.
And then bench is currently 485.
500's knocking.
So it's getting there. It's getting there. So
you said you got a meet coming up. What meet are we doing?
I'm doing the Slingshot Record Breakers.
And that's up in Sac, correct?
Dublin, California,
right next to Sacramento.
Basically.
So that's in what's the date on that?
3 weeks from today.
So whatever date that is, 3 weeks from today, which means
November 9th, I believe.
November 9th, yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So November 9th in Dublin, California.
Mm-hmm.
Record Breakers. You guys want to come watch Cailer fucking murder some shit, hit some PRs. There's some amazing athletes that always show up there and lift. That's
always.
I go up there for that one just because it is a good meet always.
Yeah, everybody kind of goes. You know what I mean?
Ed Cohen's there, Stan Effordine's there. I mean, those are some, some OGs up in the powerlifting scene. So, and Mark Bell and all those guys are there. So it's always a really solid meet, man. And I always look forward to that. Some numbers usually drop there. I believe they give money out for any records broken, correct?
Yeah, for all-time records.
All-time records are going to get paid, so it's cool, man. It's a really good meet. So if you guys are in that whole area listening to this, come through November 9th. There's going to be some monsters doing some crazy shit there. So, and I like it because it's a pretty relaxed meet too. Like you're kind of like like up on it, like you're almost like right on the platform. It seems like the way they set it up and stuff like that, which is like really cool because it's like you're right fucking there. You're not off in the stands. It's like how some of these powerlifting meets are. You're kind of way back, but I mean you're up front and up close to these elite powerlifters pulling some.
Yeah, really good for the spectators.
Yeah,
this meet,
great
like
spot.
Kind of the way
Great
it's set
spot.
up and stuff.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
So what you got anything planned after Record Breakers? I know we were discussing a little bit, but I'll let you say it.
Okay. Yeah. So I believe the meet's going to be December 8th. And that's in Moscow, Russia. Okay. So I'll go out there to do a deadlift only because there's no way in hell I'll be ready to do a full power meet again by then.
That's that quick.
But yeah, right. I could deadlift.
Well, to where like your numbers are going to jump drastically or anything like that.
They would be worse. They'd be worse. But I think I can deadlift out there.
Yeah,
so that's
absolutely.
What I'm going to do.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of things like that's a lot of like new beginner lifters when they get into like the powerlifting scene, they just want to do a bunch of fucking meets. Yeah. And meet prep is a lot different than just training.
Yeah.
Prepping for a fucking comp is really different. And a lot of people don't understand. I didn't understand that for a long time. But I can feel the way that my body feels when I'm just training. But then when I go into that mode of training for a comp, by the time it's like you're 2-3 weeks out from comp, you're beat the fuck up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so these guys, they're doing 3, 4, 5 fucking meets a year.
If you're like a teenager, early 20s, then you can get away with that for a while. But eventually, things start to fall apart.
But even then, you're not really making huge jumps each meet.
Yeah, you're not giving yourself chance to train to actually get stronger.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It's like you're just fucking doing it now for like funsies or some shit.
Yeah,
you know.
Pretty much.
And I get it. Like being on the platform is an adrenaline rush, and it's fucking amazing. But allow yourself to be able to train.
Definitely.
Get that. There's a reason why there's off-season training. There's a reason why like football players, baseball players, everybody goes into like off-season trainings for a reason.
Yeah, for sure.
Recovery as well, but a lot of other little like fundamentals that you probably need to work on or for us, you got like accessory muscles or things like that you need working on that you really don't do as much of prepping for a comp. Does that make sense? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, definitely.
So, I mean, you do like a lot of, on your off season, do like a lot of almost like bodybuilding, power building style of training, correct?
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much just like not lift heavy for a little while. That's kind of the thing.
High volume?
Decently.
Decently?
Yeah.
Yeah. So how many comps how many comps a year do you tend to try to do?
2 is like perfect. It's perfect every 6 months. Every 6 months. That gives me pretty much like 3 months to do some kind of off-season thing, rehab, whatever needs to feel better, and then I can start pushing some weights again for like 3 months.
So I mean, everybody knows this, but the 1,000-pound deadlift is like what everybody's been waiting to see you do. Do you see it coming? Is this like a goal? Like this, is it a goal of yours? Like, I mean, I'm sure it is, but like,
definitely.
Some people are like, oh, I mean, that's maybe. So how do you feel about like everybody kind of giving you the shit? Like I see they always fuck with you, but you haven't deadlifted 1,000 yet.
Yeah.
How many guys have deadlifted 1,000?
2. In powerlifting,
you know what I mean?
2 people.
So I mean that's incredible that you're like you're getting there. So like how do you feel about that? You think it's in the cards? I mean, you feel good?
Yeah. I think the only thing that bothers me about getting comments on it all the time is that
all the time.
People. I just did 959, right? And that was like all-time PR. And then people are talking about like 1,000. And I'm like, well, like other numbers probably need to happen before I start thinking about 1,000. Right. Like, maybe 970 is the next goal.
Right.
Maybe I should worry about that before worrying about pulling 1,000.
Right.
And that's just something that maybe I try to like preach to other people because about setting realistic expectations for yourself. Because, I see a lot of people kind of get that wrong or mess that up a little bit. They set their expectations way too high Well, and if your goals are way too big, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing to have big goals. You know, we always want to have big goals and achieve things, but you need to make sure you're being realistic with yourself. Otherwise, it can flaw the way that you're training. You set up your training program or whatever. Because if you're training, like if I'm training like I'm going to deadlift 1,000 pounds, that's gonna change the numbers that I'm hitting in training and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So when really maybe I should be training to hit, 970, 980. I don't know. Just taking it one step at a time, not getting too far ahead of yourself, trying to hit something too big, because then you're just, I don't know, you're risking injury and just setting yourself up for disappointment. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, like, that's like, I follow you. I've been following you for a long time, man, and that's the one thing I see, man. Everybody commenting, well, when are you gonna do 1,000? And it's just like, man, there's only been a couple people ever do it, and this guy is close. Like, yeah, it's risky. Like, why train at that? You're not at 1,000 yet. So how can you train at 1,000 when you're not there? It's not a PR you've hit.
Yeah.
And then like I was telling you, man, when I first came here, I was congratulating you on this, and 9-pound PR, man. Like, and then I saw a lot of comments and stuff like, oh, like he's like all excited about only a 9-pound PR. At that kind of fucking weight, like a pound or two is huge.
Yeah,
when you're at that weight, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So to sit there and be like, well, when's 1,000 coming? And it's like, you're right, man. You're absolutely right, and I agree with you. Yeah, like 970, 980 is more realistic. 980 is from 959 to 980 is huge for you, right?
Yeah.
And these guys are, they're so concerned about 1,000. It's just like, you guys don't understand like what that probably feels like on his body the day that he eventually pulls 1,000. Right. It's every little tiny pound that he can scrape right now is a huge progress.
Yeah, and it's not like one of those things that you're like, okay, you know what? I'm really serious about the 1,000 now. I'm gonna go push it and force that to happen. You have to just keep training how you've been training and just let it happen.
Right. And on that note, I mean, like, okay, let's just say this, okay? So 9-pound PR. How long have you been training since that 950 to 959 now?
6 months about.
It's taken half a year to gain only 9 fucking pounds.
Exactly.
Okay,
and
so
I'm
let's
thrilled with that progress.
Yeah, and,
too,
and absolutely. So, like,
pink.
let's think about this, you guys. Like, he's at 959. He's what, 41 pounds away from 1,000, correct? Mm-hmm. Yes. All right. 41 pounds. It took him 6 months to gain 9 fucking pounds. Okay, go 6 times 4, and you tell me what the fuck we got to, or 6 times 9, or. Yeah, so that 6 times 9 to figure out what the fuck you're going to be at 1,000. How long do you think it's going to take to get to 1,000? If you were at this progress, it didn't take a couple years. It could potentially take a couple years. And people don't understand that.
And then sometimes you just make big jumps of progress for no reason, and it kind of happens. So.
Yeah, so I mean, every 6 months you're moving around 10 pounds.
Yeah.
So, okay, so 20 pounds is a year. Another 20 pounds is 2 years. So to hit let's see if we're realistic about it. It's 2 years for Caleb to hit a fucking 1,000-pound deadlift if he stays on track and keeps doing it. Could it come sooner? Absolutely. Things change, body change, food. Who fucking knows? You know what I mean? But when I sit there and I see that, I'm like, man, I bet you guys don't even know how long it's taken him to get that 9 fucking pounds. For me, 9 pounds.
Everything I've had to do to get that 9 pounds over the last 6 months. I mean,
and you're not like a lazy trainer. You train your ass off. You're not a lazy athlete by any fucking means. I mean, your nutrition always seems on point. Mm-hmm. I think you fucking upload a video almost every day of training. You know what I mean? So I mean, you're a very dedicated athlete to the sport. And so that's what I'm saying. It's like one of the most dedicated dudes in the sport only gained 9 pounds in 6 months, and everybody's like, "When's 1,000?" It's like it'll in a couple years probably. I mean, if it comes sooner, that'd be great.
Yeah, if I'm being, if I had to guess, I think it's there within a year.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely can. I mean, something could happen. You know what I mean?
That's the good thing about this. Crazy thing about the sport, man. Is shit can fucking happen too. But I mean, I think it's crazy, man. I was pumped for you watching that. I mean, at first I was getting ready, like, I was like hyped. I was about to yell, but you moved that 959 so fast. I mean, fast. There's definitely something in the tank.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah,
and just so everybody knows, for you new powerlifters that are listening to this or whatever, just because he pulled 959. On Instagram doesn't mean you're going to pull 959 at comp, because you got squat and you got bench, and then you go to depth. But I have noticed you tend to pull right around what you're kind of like.
I always do better. All my lifts are usually bigger in competition, so hopefully I can keep that.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think that is?
I think it's just because of the way that I usually train. Like I don't necessarily hit 100% max attempts in the gym. I'll save it. I'll do like a little bit less, and then I'll save like kind of the bigger one for the competition. And then usually like when you hit it in training, well, that was usually done on top of like whatever else you did that week for training.
Right. Yeah.
Where so maybe you're a little worn out, a little fatigued, especially like at this point in the competition prep. Things are kind of just they're beat up. Everything's just a little bit beat up. But then when you go to the meet, you're completely deloaded, or at least you should be. And I'm fed up, rested up. Like I have like a good little routine that I go through the day before the meet to make myself feel as good as I can, like the day of. And I kind of feed off of the crowd. Maybe some people don't like getting up on the platform. It freaks them out a little bit. I kind of feed off of it.
That's
People watching and stuff like that. Yeah. And then maybe I'll hold myself back a little bit in training as far as like how much I push, just because like I know that it matters, but not like it does in the competition.
Right.
Whereas the competition, all fear of anything bad happening it's just gone. You know what I mean? Like I just drop everything and just go give everything I got at the meet, where it actually matters.
Yeah,
so.
I'm kind of the same way. Like if shit goes bad, I want it to happen at the meet,
Yeah.
Like if it does. I definitely am a little bit more nervous or timid a little bit about like when I'm in training. Because the last thing I want to do is like fucking Brillo something out, bicep, chest, leg, whatever. In training, but at comp, I mean, you're supposed to be pushing it to like your max level. That's usually when shit could go wrong. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I completely get that, man. So.
And then also the competition is the one day that I give myself to completely try as hard as I absolutely can on all 3 lifts, and that's the only time that I get to do that.
And
so I'm excited.
Oh yeah,
to do that
absolutely.
at the competition. So I'm a little more fired up. I'm like, okay, well today I get to try as hard as I absolutely can and not hold anything back. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's a little more exciting in the competition.
So how long you been? We all kind of like a lot of us athletes have been working with Herbstrong and Sawyer and stuff like that. How long have you been?
Let's see.
Working with Sawyer and Herbstrong here.
I want to say like it's been almost a year and a half.
Okay, so a while.
Yeah, a little while.
Yeah.
A little while.
Yeah. So for a lot of the people that will sit there and think like, me and you, we're definitely not like fitness boys, where we're sitting there like modeling product and shit. Like you usually probably aren't gonna like represent or use something that you really aren't using or like really works. I'm the same way.
Yeah, for sure.
Actually, the funny thing was Sawyer and Herbstrong reached out to me years ago when they just started, and I told them no. Like I just wasn't about it because like I didn't have enough knowledge about it to sit there and tell people like, oh no, this works. And I come from a big like narcotic abuse, pills abuse for pain and stuff like that. So I was against like anything. And I'm like, anything that's a painkiller, it helps kill pain. I'm like, no, and so. I denied them for like years to like even work with them at all. And now I use it in multiple ways a lot.
Yeah.
And it has helped me a lot. And so what is some of the stuff that you use that's helped you and like how has it helped you through your training and things like that as well?
So the one that I like the most is that recovery cream. Yeah. And it's just because it's like it's site specific and you'll have that one little spot that it's bothering you or something. For me, it's like my knees. So that's something that I'll kind of rub on my knees before and after a squat session. Especially because what I was having to do before, I would just take a bunch of ibuprofen. You know what I mean? Because my knees hurt and stuff like that, and that's just not good long term. I mean, maybe I would get some relief out of it, but it just never really.
Right. Beats up your body.
It does, man. And then, giving me stomach ache because I'm taking it every day and stuff like that. So basically, I've been able to replace over-the-counter, those non-steroidal anti-inflammatories with CBD. And I think that's, for me, that's kind of my biggest thing with it. That's kind of where I've benefited the most from it. I've been able to replace those other over-the-counter medicines with something that's basically harmless.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's a big win for me. I think that's great. So that's kind of the one thing that I usually mainly share.
Yeah, that was like a huge thing for me to like push on to, like, especially because veterans, when we get wounded or got injuries or whatever, the government, the military, they will pump you full of medicine to like.
Yeah.
Like I used to have. I remember there was a point during my recovery when I was like going through and I was like, in the hospital and everything. I would be on like drip line Dilaudid. I'd be taking oral Oxy IRs, which are instant release, and then I would take some Oxy SRs, which are sustained release. Then I was on ketamine, I was on methadone. I mean, at one point I was on all this at the same time.
Jesus.
I mean, it's crazy. You know what I mean? It's crazy. And then they're sitting there slamming you full of, I can't even think of something like anti-nausea medicine because you're taking so many fucking different like prescription drugs.
Yeah.
Once you that make you sick, that they're like, okay, we're going to go ahead and give you this so that doesn't so you don't get sick off all this medicine you're taking.
You have to take drugs to counteract the side effects of other drugs.
Absolutely, like methadone. It's like to counter all the, and then ketamine is one of the craziest things. I remember when they're like, I was in just severe pain, and they were just like, well, we're going to give you ketamine. It's going to help like do some stuff with like the pain and make your brain think that you're not as in much pain. It was weird as fuck. And then there was like only 2 people in that whole hospital that had the key to that lockbox of that ketamine that was in my room, and I was just like, that shit you want, that's like, now I look back, I'm like, man, that shit that they were putting in my body, that's like so toxic, and so addicting.
Yeah.
And so then when you get out, they're like, all right, you're in a lot of pain. What pain are you at? Oh, 10? Okay. And here's oxys, here's Percocets, here's this. Take this and take. It's like I'm literally fucked up all day.
Yeah.
And then when you get to a point where it's like you're maybe not hurting as much, or your recovery's over, or something like that, then they just like, okay, we're gonna you don't really, you get these like a little bit now, and then you go into withdrawals. That's where I was at in point of my life, and then I just realized like all I'm doing is high as fuck all the time, because I was just wanting to like kill the pain off completely.
Yeah.
So I would take more and more, and it's just you're fucked up all the time.
Right.
So that's the one thing. Like I really like Sawyer basically told me like the winning thing for me with like Herbstrong was I've been approached by so many CBD companies where they were just like, dude, try it. If it doesn't fucking help you, say it doesn't help you. We'll let you put it on it. You can put it on. You can put it all over social media. Because I told him, I said, look, if you send this to me and it doesn't work like you're telling me it's gonna work, I'm gonna fucking tell everybody it doesn't work. But man, and for a company to be like, we will totally be fine with you posting that it doesn't work if that's the case.
Yeah.
I was like, you guys are fucking ballsy, and I like ballsy,
For sure.
And so they sent me a big care package of it. I started using it, and I remember the first night I used it on my knee after squats, on my right knee, because it's always fucking hurting me. And the next morning I woke up, and usually I wake up and I'm in like severe, like chronic, like pain, and I struggle, but I don't want to say when I woke up that's when I was like in no pain, but I wasn't hurting as bad as I was usually when I didn't. So I'm sitting there in my head, I'm like, oh, it's fucking placebo, you dumbass. Like, this is in your head, So then I was like, I'm gonna use one more night. Same thing. I woke up next day and I felt better. I felt okay,
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, now I'm not gonna use it. And then I started not using it, and then I noticed I'm like back in pain,
Yeah.
And so now I use it every night, and then with like, and then I also use the drops for like anxiety to like just calm me down a little bit, because I train kind of like in the evening.
Yeah.
I'm all like hyped up on pre-workout, adrenaline is going from the lifting and all this stuff. So I like to use the drops a lot for like just calming. I used them last night because I was up late and I needed to get some sleep and just wanted to settle down a little bit, man.
Yeah.
So the stuff it's crazy. It's not a fad. That was one thing I was like totally against. I was like,
It's really not,
fad.
man. Yeah.
I
mean,
it's really not.
No, not at all. I mean, anything that comes from the hemp plant,
Yeah.
it's just good.
Yeah, and that was another thing. Like, I mean, like I noticed that, like, like if let's say I smoked weed or something like that, I would sleep real good, or I wouldn't be in like as much pain, like that. But I don't want to be just walking around smoking blunts all the time. You know what I mean? It's like,
it's not realistic.
It's not realistic. But I could be walking and, or I'm like hurting, like, when I go to Disneyland, matter of fact, or I go to any amusement park, I'll take some of the cream with me.
Absolutely.
And I'll just rub it on my arms, or I'll rub it on my, I'll go, hey, I'm going to go to the restroom real quick, and I'll, rub some on me, and it fucking helps me, man. It really does.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's not an instant pain reliever, but it does slowly, over like a period of time during that time frame, really kind of like subside, like what it is. Mostly for me, it's the inflammation.
Yeah.
If my inflammation starts to swell, my bones start to fucking hurt, because I have like severe arthritis,
Mm-hmm.
And so it kind of subsides that inflammation for me, and that's like the key part for me. So yeah, so that's why I've been kind of using it forever, and that's why I'm here doing everything that I'm doing to kind of help promote it, because I understand the narcotic abuse.
Right. And it's just like such a good alternative. And it's effective. I mean,
it's an amazing alternative.
Yeah.
And I know, and when you're on those narcotics like that, man, the amount of like depression that it can cause, and it just completely fucks you up. And yeah, you know, you got
your health is just
right.
bad. You know
right.
what I mean?
And it's like you got it's fucking sad that the world we live in, but you know, you got things that can actually like help you naturally without like any type of side effects. There's no side effects of CBD. That's what's fucking amazing about it. You know, but you got like government agencies and certain people trying to shut it down, you know, and making it hard on guys like Sawyer to try to do this, what they're doing. Like people don't understand, like Sawyer, I'm friends with him. So I get to like pick his brain about things and see what he's doing. And even Sawyer, I'm like, hey, like, you know, I've been thinking about adding CBD into this. And he's like, bro, I wouldn't like do that because it's so hard, like the money to coming in and the banks. And it's like, fuck, man, people like the government and the pharmaceutical companies have such a hold on like everything. Even the fucking banks are like, oh, you're a CBD oh, hold on. Now transferring money from it's fucking crazy.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. Man. But like this doctor who's, you know, this pharmaceutical company who's $1 billion pharmaceutical company, they have no problem getting their fucking money. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But little Sawyer who's out here off a hemp plant, you know, that's natural, that has nothing, no chemicals whatsoever put into it, can't fucking sit here and goddamn get a fucking paycheck. So that's the thing. It's like he literally will go times where like money's not being transferred from one place to another place. He's got to go and fight it and deal with it. But he fucking like, he's just been doing this for so long now. It's like this is like his passion, you know? And it's fucking crazy, man. And I get it. Like I get it. Like government and all the money and the taxes and all the crazy shit that they make. But like at that same time, they like don't give a fuck to like fuck people up for money.
And that's what I like about, you know, the whole CBD thing, because I feel like it's kind of fighting against a lot of these prescription drug companies and stuff.
That was huge for me.
Because something needs to, man, because it's a problem. I mean, it's a big fucking problem.
Oh, man. Fucking kids are snorting, popping oxys.
Yeah.
Man, go fucking, oh, man, we're going to go out there and get fucked up on some fucking Herbstrong oil. Dump that whole fucking body. You can't overdose on Herbstrong or on CBD. You can't overdose on it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So now you're getting rid of something that people are killing themselves on. You know, how many people do we see, movie stars, all these people that have died of overdosing on a pharmaceutical drug?
Yep.
Right?
All the time, man.
But you can't overdose on CBD.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you might be fucking sleeping for a minute, but you can't overdose on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just crazy to me. Like, you really can get rid of a fucking local drug dealer by just taking some CBD.
Yeah.
But you'd rather just keep the drug dealer around. But you're sitting there and have law enforcement out there going out hunting down drug dealers. You're fucking drug dealers. You know, these are pharmaceutical brands of drug dealers.
Basically.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
It fucking blows my mind. And it really pisses me off because I was a victim of that. I was legitimately a victim of, like, pharmaceutical and stuff putting into my body and fucking me up.
Yeah.
You know, and I was just lucky that I'm, like, strong-willed enough to kind of, like, realize it, go through the sickness part of it.
Because I guess some people,
and you can't.
Most people never get over that.
No.
You know what I mean? They're kind of just stuck down that road for... kills them till it kills them,
until it kills them. And the thing is like, you know, like I've seen people like, you know, like for example, like guys that get on like meth, right? Like they get on meth and they're tweaked out, they're up all night. I was the same fucking way. I was the same way when I was taking Oxycontins. I would take Oxycontin, SRs and IRs. Sometimes I'd stack them, just take them, right? And I would be up for 3 days straight.
Damn.
It was an upper for me. I would fucking pop up video games, and I'd be fucking up drinking Rolling Rock. I'll never forget it, man. I used to have Rolling Rocks, which is a pale ale beer, and fucking pizza and Call of Duty, and that was my shit. And when I would be up for days straight, no sleep. Every time I start getting tired, I take oxys and shit, and I'd be like, dude, I'm in the zone, fucking high as shit. I didn't smoke weed or do none of that shit back then. I fucking did Oxycontins, Percocets, shit like that, and it kept me up for days straight. What the fuck do you think that meth does, you know? And then I would crash hard. I would crash hard, you know? And that's what meth does. Okay, let's think about this. You know, like you're trying to shut down CBD companies that I can sit there and drink a whole bottle of the CBD shit and I'm not getting twacked out. You know what I mean? I'm not fucking doing anything. Yeah. But you won't even try to help shut down these pharmaceutical companies because the government knows who the fuck pays their asses a lot of fucking money.
Yeah. It's bad. It's bad stuff.
I mean, think about it.
I feel
it's mind-blowing.
Improvements have been made, though. Like, things are getting better.
They're getting better.
I mean, you know, they're maybe doing stuff to where they're at least not, like, I know right now they're at least not making as many of these painkillers, and they're making them a little harder to get, from what I've heard. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't have any experience with it, but, like, you know, maybe things are finally starting to happen a little bit, especially with, you know, marijuana starting to become a little bit
bit
more
more legal,
acceptable. So
well, and I'm a firm believer that I guarantee you that those pharmaceutical companies are feeling a little bit of a hit from that.
Absolutely.
From that,
I mean, it could replace so many of their drugs.
Oh, absolutely.
And for like, you compare what those companies would charge for their prescriptions versus what you could get CBD and or marijuana for.
Right.
And it's like,
I mean, I can go to fucking Oregon right now. I get a gram of fucking weed for $9.
yeah.
Take your ass, and that'll last me a little while.
Sure.
Take your ass to a store and go pay that medical bill to get some Oxycontins.
Yeah, especially if you don't have insurance.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying if you don't have
yeah.
insurance. I mean, let's be real. Like if you don't have, because if you have insurance, you're still paying on insurance.
Sure.
Okay, so I mean, and $9 for a gram of some weed. You know what I mean? That's gonna not do what those prescription drugs do, not cost as much money. So I get it why, like, you got the pharmaceutical companies and all these people like trying to like stop it, but I think it's just to a point where they can't stop it anymore because like, guys like Sawyer are making these companies and other people and athletes and people are using CBD and their marijuana and what it's doing for them and everything like that. It's kind of like, well, I don't want to take fucking Percocets or Oxycontins anymore.
And I think the general population is just starting to become more aware as a whole of the issue because there for a while I feel like it was kind of kept in the dark.
It was,
but then now it's like being spoken about more and more, and awareness is being spread.
Right,
so.
and it's still like I mean, here's the thing with me, like like if I saw somebody like going down the street, sitting there, and they got their little bowl and they're fucking hitting that, I don't like that look. I was like, it looks like you're like smoking crack, But like people that are like smoking like blunts or like look like cigars or rolled like cigarettes. I don't bother me too much. Like I see it looks natural. I see fucking people smoking cigarettes everywhere. So it doesn't really, to me, it's a little bit better of an image. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
And I don't know. Hopefully, it starts to progress a little bit better. You got a lot of young kids that are opening up shops and. You got some good ones, you got some sketchy ones, So, I think once it more gets like legitimate and like a little bit cleaner looking and more business style, I think we'll start to really turn the tables.
Yeah.
Then, you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
But it's just there's just a lot of things that are, in the marijuana industry that are just still like sketchy. Like, where is it coming from? How's it getting here? Who's bringing it? Especially when you got we're in California, you got the cartel right here running shit, and they're importing drugs.
Right.
Now, like, especially in California, now you're sitting here, now you're making like marijuana legal. CBD is made off of the marijuana plant, but now you're making it legal. Well, guess what? Now we don't really need you cartel guys down there bringing your trash up here,
right?
Because we got like guys that are actually putting like a lot of work and science into it, where you're getting different types of strands of different types of things that help do and make you do different things. Whether you have anxiety or sleep, you got that. You have depression, there's stuff for that. You got all these strands that these guys are really like putting a lot of care and time into now.
They're
instead of like
creative with it.
Yeah, instead of like free growing in like a field in Mexico.
Yeah,
chopping it all up and bringing it up here and hashing it out on the streets.
Yeah,
I mean, when I was in high school, you call the homie, yo, let me get a dime bag, and you meet up, and it's like, so you know what I mean? Like, it's not anything crazy.
Sure.
Now it's like I can walk in and I'm like, I'm not scared to have it on me, you know what I mean, type of thing. And it's just, it's a little, it gets rid of all that. Like, there's other drugs you guys can be going handling, like. There's a lot of prescription drugs that are out there being smuggled around and stuff like that. Like, go deal with that shit.
Yeah.
Like, don't worry about no marijuana shit. You know what I mean? So, I don't know, man. I love it. I like seeing guys like you, like elite athletes and stuff like that, using it as well, man, because, I mean, you're fucking using it and it's helping you. There's
Absolutely.
a reason for it. It's better than me sitting here asking, like, oh, so what are you taking? Like, oh, I take a couple Oxycontins here and there. And no, you know what I mean? So,
yeah.
That's epic, man. Yeah, I really hope to see it change, and I got some friends that are pretty well known guys on Instagram, athletes and stuff like that are really open about like smoking marijuana, using CBD, things like that, and I love seeing it. And they're brave for doing it, because it is still like one of those things, like with like, you could lose some opportunities because you promote it, but there's just some guys that they don't care because they stand by it so much, and that says a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
That says, I mean, I don't smoke a lot of weed, if my buddies have some, yeah. Do I go through times of like when maybe I'll like when I went to go visit my buddy Julian Smith up in Oregon, right? Well known guy in the fitness industry, and he's an avid smoker. Like, he fucking puts it on his Instagram. He doesn't care, you know? And he's got like 2 million followers, you know? So this guy is putting it fucking out there.
Yeah.
And so, like, when I was coming back to Oregon, I stopped in Oregon and got some, and I had it. And when I have it, man, I'll fucking use it because it really helps me just relax and chill and things like that. I don't really sit there and post a lot of it on my social media. You know, because like maybe like, you know, I just shot for like Under Armour and Dick's Sporting Goods and all that, and maybe they would have seen that and been like, okay, we can't get this guy because of this, you know, and lost that opportunity.
Yeah.
So I don't really promote it as much like that, but it's not that I'm against it.
Sure.
It's just business.
No, definitely
Smartness.
Yeah.
You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
So, well, that's cool, man. So besides like record breaks or anything like that, I mean, anything coming up?
Yeah, just that.
How's life? What's going on?
Man, it's all right. You know, it's fine. I guess just trying to stay in one piece.
Yeah.
Yeah. I stay busy with everything, you know, outside of the gym too. Just, you know, have like a little part-time job, and then I do online training and in-person training, and yeah. I mean,
so you do powerlifting training online and personal.
Yeah.
Okay, so for people that are listening to this, me and Andy talked about this last week, right? Where powerlifting is getting big. And you got every Joe Smo that'll do like one meet and they're fucking training, they're a coach. You know, I've had like 7 coaches because I like to learn a lot of shit.
Yeah.
Every person that I've used Chad, I've used Tony. You know, I've used a bunch of, just different.
Yeah, it's good to have a variety.
Like
that variety of knowledge.
Well,
you know,
and that's what I wanted. And it's not that I'm like, oh fuck, no, it's just I want to learn. And each one's different. You know, I remember when I first did my very first like comp, I was like Westside Barbell style. I fucking hate Westside Barbell style. I don't fucking like it. And I know there's probably some people like, oh shit, you know, who's going to hear this? I don't give a fuck. It didn't work for me. I don't like doing 1 rep maxes against bands, chains, and off of fucking upside down shit. I'm just not into it. It doesn't make sense to me. And then I sit there and I look back and I'm like, okay, what are the greatest raw powerlifters doing? And they're not doing Westside. Geared lifters are doing Westside. I think that makes sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's not for me. You know, and I just felt like I was always hurt really bad. Then I had Chad with Juggernaut Training. Chad's training's great. Doesn't work for me because the amount of squats that motherfucker likes to make people do.
Yeah.
For my injuries and my issues, my hip was fucked. You know?
Maybe it's making it to where you can't deadlift the same way anymore.
You know,
so
I would do that. And then I had Ed teach me some shit. You know, he was running me through some stuff, and I like his style. He's kind of like a just kind of you go off a feel. Like he's got a training program, but like the way that you're feeling, you know, like on like let's say when I'm gonna take a deload. He's not into that like 3-on-1 off shit. Because he's like, that doesn't make sense. Because like in the beginning, you know, maybe it's 3-on-1 off, but when you get towards your peaking, when your strength in there and you're lifting heavier, and your central nervous system might be fucked up more, you know, and you might have to take like a day off this day and a day off this day, and then 4 days off straight, and then you come back to. And so that's kind of like what I do now. I'll take like 2 or 3 days off. Like I don't go to the gym. Yeah. And I come back feeling great. You know, so I don't know. I've used it, like I said, I've done a couple different training schemes and stuff like that. But, you know, everybody will sit there and sit, you know, I know a guy at one time that I coached, you know, and then he stole my program, like the program that I wrote for him specifically. He literally just took that and started using that for like people. And he only done one powerlifting. He wasn't strong at all, you know, and he started like stealing people and undercutting price, you know, whatever. And then like people go to meets and they would fucking suck. You know, and I'm like, yeah, because that program was built for him. That's not built for you.
Right.
So, like, his weak points that I was working on are not necessarily your weak points. So, you know, you're in a very elite powerlifter. And I think, like, yeah, I think you should be fucking coaching people. So, if people are looking for an elite coach, where can they find you at?
So, I'm not really taking any online right now. I just have.
Is it because you're getting close to your comps and stuff, or you just don't do it that much?
I'm full. You know, I kind of stay.
A good thing, yeah.
I stay booked.
Okay.
You know, with it and stuff. So, I mean, if anybody's like in Lubbock, I can take one more in person.
Right.
I'm looking for one more in person.
Where are you based out of?
Lubbock, Texas.
Lubbock, Texas. If you're in the area, don't hold out.
So if you've ever heard of Texas Tech University, that's where we're at. Or maybe a couple people might know Patrick Mahomes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, he went to Texas Tech.
Yeah.
So, you know, he kind of put Lubbock on the map a little bit just because he's all his recent success and whatnot.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I kind of agree with that. The whole, like, I mean, I see like a lot of people that coach that maybe not saying they shouldn't ever, but and it's not about being the best lifter ever or anything like that. But you got to walk the walk for a little bit. You have to have had some kind of struggle that you've overcome, or something, and you have to be able to teach people perseverance and stuff like that. If you've never done that yourself, then I mean, you can't really.
Yeah, I've grabbed a few, and the ones that I do are usually like I even tell them like, look, man, there's a lot better people that you can have coach you, but they really just want me to coach them mostly for motivation.
Yeah.
They're just really motivated by what I do. And I even tell them like, dude, you guys, there's Brandon Allen, there's all these great fucking coaches out there, man, that you could really go higher, and they tell me, no, we literally want you to coach us or me or whoever, because it's you. Like that's why, and I get that, like as for me, I get that. But I mean, like right now I have like, I only took on one recently. It's because she's been burned by so many like those bullshit powerlifting coaches I'm talking about that I know her personally, and she's not trying to be like hella competitive. So I'm just like teaching her basic powerlifting, and I feel like I can coach that. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's very friendly and just whatever. So, but like right now, like I've just kind of told myself like I want to be at a different level before I feel like I can be respected enough to coach people. I don't think I'm there yet, and that's me just being a fucking man saying like I don't fucking think I'm there yet. But I want to be there, and I think I got like, honestly, I think like 5 more years. That's what I think. I think I have 5 more years of doing this shit to like know a lot more than what I know now. I mean, if you think about like Mark Bell, he's been doing this for how long? And he's like, he really coach anybody. He kind of coaches the people,
Yeah,
I just feel like he's earned that because he's been doing this for so fucking long.
Definitely. That's really what it comes down to, is just experience.
Put your time in. Yeah, experience. I mean, absolutely. You can't, the guys that coach the NFL, man, they didn't walk in one day and be like, coached a couple high school teams. I need a job here. You know what I mean? No, they've really put some time in, and they've earned that spot to be like, oh shit, this guy's known for this, this, and this. Well, we need to hire him as an NFL coach because he's knowledgeable. And that's the same thing with powerlifting. I think you have to be on the platform. You have to put in the work, and there is a lot that goes into it. There is.
Absolutely.
I feel like amputees I could probably coach pretty well.
Yeah.
Because I get it, but I don't know, man. I'm just, like I said, I just think I'm just to a point where I've realized like there's a lot that I'm still learning,
Definitely.
to this day.
I think that's the fun part about it. There's always something more to learn.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
It never ends, man. It's just like there's always something else.
So I threw up on my Instagram. We'll do a few of these. We'll just do a couple. We don't have to get crazy. I like just some questions. We'll just let me pull this up. Some questions some guys are asking, and I figured like we'll just ask them. We'll ask like 4 of them or something.
Okay.
Like that. So one of them is and this is I can't help some of these questions by the way.
Right. Yeah,
okay.
I get it.
All right.
I know how questions go.
Yeah, man. So one of them is how do you feel, and is it important to also train without a belt? And that's funny because we were just talking about this shit. So give me like the pros and the cons and like your thoughts on training with and without a belt.
Man,
because this is a big issue. I mean, this is a thing. It's a topic.
Yeah. I think beltless squatting has a lot of benefit to it. Just because like, and it seems, there's a little bit of like a learning curve there. So maybe like if you're getting closer to me, start getting used to that belt again and stuff like that. But for the most part, it seems to be like basically an immediate benefit as soon as you put it back on. So it's not like knee wraps or something where you have to kind of maybe relearn your technique again for a couple of weeks. It's like usually as soon as you throw that belt back on, it's a lot. So I mean, I'll usually squat as heavy as I can, beltless, unless I'm like real close to a competition, just as heavy as I comfortably feel going. But pretty much if I think it's going to be like a struggle or anything at all, you know what I mean? Like I'll put the belt on just to be safe, just give myself a little extra support. Beltless deadlifting, I feel like I've tried it with and without, and I don't think there's like that big of a benefit to it, and especially not sumo. I think maybe you get something out of a belt for a conventional deadlift, like for sure. At least I do, but sumo, no, just because of the angle of your torso. So it really kind of depends, So if you're really upright, the more upright you are, the less a belt's going to do for you, especially with the weight being below you. Whereas like with the squat, it's on top of you. So having a belt's going to be greatly beneficial no matter what. I mean, I think maybe there's I guess to sum that up, I think there's some benefit to beltless squatting training, but deadlift,
right?
It's one of those things. I don't think
I've just recently started doing like a lot of beltless deadlifts only.
Yeah,
and I've gotten stronger, which is crazy. I'm learning how to brace better, use my
Exactly.
core better.
Yeah.
I'm now at a point where like I actually can feel it now, like getting my core tight and everything like that, and it feels great. And I'm stronger now than when I was with the belt. So
Yeah. So
you know, my back doesn't hurt differently. Nothing's changed. I'm not in any type of more like pain. I've just over time I've been doing it like 5 weeks now, 6 weeks now, and I'm just now like I'm really realizing like how strong my core is actually getting, and it's just like I don't train abs really, but abs starting to come because of so much all this deadlifting without the belt and learning how to flex and squeeze my core real good. So it's just like. I'm like, that's how Dan Green gets fucking goddamn abs like that. You know what I mean? Like guys like that. You know what I mean? You see them like that's like, oh, how do they get that turtle shell? Oh, it's probably a lot of bracing on their own and stuff like that. That core training. So that's what I've been doing a lot of. I feel great on it too. So no, that's good, man. I like that. I'm definitely like an avid like beltless person. I think from here on out, as far as deadlifting, squats, I feel like I need a belt when I squat, and I do like benching, like we were talking about with a belt.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's just at the angle that you're sitting at, and I feel like it's a little bit harder to like squeeze that core real tight. That I do like the belt because the way it makes me feel, as far as like I'm able to like squeeze my core against it.
Yeah, definitely.
You know,
it makes my chest feel a little more solid.
Right. Yeah. So I do bench. I'll still continue to bench and squat with a belt. But who's your all-time favorite power lifter?
Man, that's hard to answer just because I'm such a big fan of the sport and there's so many people I keep up with. But
give us three.
I mean, you gotta like Yuri, you know, just out of sheer respect. Even if you hate him, you respect him and you like him. You know what I mean?
And that's a competitor that's one of your like guys that you like are clashing with is Yuri, right? I mean, like
pretty
not
much,
clash in the sense of like in a bad thing, but like you guys are like same weight battle, you know,
for deadlift,
you know what I mean?
And then total, it's just not even worth like comparing. You know what I'm saying? But at least it's like that for everybody else too. And it's not just me comparing my total to his. That's everybody else comparing their total to his too. Tom Martin, you know, who's actually doing my coaching and stuff right now.
Man,
and that's why, like, originally I reached out to him in the first place because, you know, it's just
nobody really knows
probably like my favorite lifter. And I hope he didn't hear me saying this because I don't want him to know that. But
I mean, dude, like, I didn't meet Tom till the first time a couple years ago when I was at the Pro Raw, and you see this guy and you don't think much of him.
He's impressive.
Then, fuck, man, one of the strongest dudes I've ever like personally like seen, like just pure strength, man, because he doesn't look it, you know? And he's just such a nice guy. I'll never forget it, man. I was sitting there in the backup warm-up room, and I was like, you know, I'm feeling myself. I was fucking feeling strong, as strong as I've ever been. And Tom comes walking up, and he's like, hey, do you guys like mind if I like just kind of like jump in and warm up with you guys? And I was like, yeah. And he's just like wrecking weight, like, bro, I'm like strong. This fucking guy
deadlifting.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
And he was just like, I was sitting there like, who the fuck is this guy, you know? Like, he's so low key that not a lot of people, unless you powerlift or met him or just like know like really like powerlifting, like you don't know who that is, you know? Because I didn't know who the fuck he was when I went back there, and like he just looked like a guy, like a normal guy, you know, redheaded fucking dude, you know? Yeah. And he's got big ass legs though. He's got some tree trunks, but he doesn't look what you think he can do. He doesn't look it at all, and he's very quiet. He doesn't do a lot when he gets on the platform. He just he just wrecks havoc. I was really sad to see him get injured last year and stuff like that, you know, and stuff like that. But what a fucking animal, man.
Yeah, he's crazy. You know, actually, I think he unofficially, or just like with his training and stuff, you know, he started jacking around with some sumo deadlifts, and he pulled 400 kilos sumo. You know, maybe like within 4 weeks of doing sumo at all ever. So I think he's the only person that can conventional deadlift 400 kilos, squat 400 kilos, and sumo deadlift 400 kilos.
Yeah, he's impressive, man.
Yeah,
he's
man.
a really good fucking dude, too. So I like that you said him, because not a lot of people know who that cat is. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then number 3.
You know, I mean, I don't want to say Ed Cohn. I mean, that's just a given. So maybe we'll just leave that out of it.
Ed's always like number 1 deep down. Yeah, like, he's a favorite of every. I mean, he's the Arnold Schwarzenegger of powerlifting. Let's be fucking real. You know what I mean? He really kind of set powerlifting, and he's a fucking solid dude.
Yeah, man. If I had to pick another one, I like Odell Manuel.
Okay.
You know, I hope I'm saying his last name right. I don't know, just because I like the way he trains.
Right. Right.
And that was the same thing about Tom as well. You know, it's more than just their lifts. It's the way they lift and
Right.
how they train and stuff.
Yeah.
Because that's what if I had to, if I'm picking favorites, it's people I can feel like I can learn something from.
Right. Yeah. I think
what I
that's
mean?
great. Yeah, I think that's great.
Yeah.
And then the one that I like the most. I'm sure you get this a lot.
I'm sure I do.
Do you think sumo deadlifting is cheating?
Oh, okay.
How often do you get this? Oh, he does sumo,
Yeah,
so it's kind of like cheating.
I mean,
Smaller range of motion that you have to go, things like that. You know, what are your feelings on this topic? I think this is a great topic because a lot of people talk shit.
I do it because it's easier for me.
Yeah.
So yeah,
right.
I mean, I could say it was cheating, sure.
But there's a lot of guys who do conventional that can't switch over to sumo and do more.
Yeah,
that's what you know what I mean.
And I wonder if they could, if they just tried for long enough, if they gave it an honest try for a while, because usually you'll see somebody do it like once or twice and it just looks terrible because it was the first or second time they did it and they just tried to go real heavy and it just looks bad. But mine's always been about 100 pounds difference between the two.
So I mean, but you've been training sumo. I wonder if you transferred over to conventional, how long it would take you to gain that 100 pounds. You know what I mean? Like if
ever, because I push conventional pretty hard this training, this whole prep, and I mean I put 15 kilos on it. I went from 848 to 881.
Right.
And that's already carried over to sumo. So that's kind of what I do there. Yeah, I could say sumo is cheating, but you got to be good at conventional deadlifting too. That should kind of just be the base of any deadlift regimen, routine, or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, I think everybody needs a conventional deadlift. So anytime I go do a seminar or something, and I see it all the time. There's people who will sumo deadlift, and that's the only way they ever deadlift, and that's probably the biggest mistake that they're making with their training. So always make sure to show everybody how to. I'll say sumo is optional if anybody wants to learn sumo or not, but conventional, like one of my seminars I'll do, is like absolutely mandatory. Right. Everybody has to learn how to do a good conventional deadlift.
Yeah. And then the last thing is that I saw in there was the person I guess obviously follows you. They see that you do a lot of like barbell rows. So like how beneficial do you think barbell rows are to like your deadlifting and stuff like that?
They helped me for a while, and then now it's actually been, I don't even know how long since I've done them like routinely. Mm-hmm. It's been like year and a half at least since I've done them routinely.
Okay,
but there for a while, I could say that it was the indicator. Or, I could say that this movement for sure like blew up my deadlift.
Was the barbell rows?
Yeah.
Oh, big back helps all.
And then maybe there's another movement that would have given me the same progress. Right. Maybe I don't know, but yeah, I like that one a lot for a while. And if I ever get really stuck on my deadlift again, maybe that's something I'll try to progress at again. It's just I've been able to, there's been other ways of me training and stuff that I've been able to get better at deadlifting without having to do the barbell rows.
Right. Awesome. Well, that's it for the questions, man. Thanks for coming, dude, all the way out here.
Yeah, man.
Doing this, coming up. Hang out with Sawyer and do the podcast. I just drove up to do this. I was pumped last week when he told me that you were coming. I was like, it's a good dude to have on. The guy's like, you're gonna be one of the legendary deadlifters in the sport, man. It's pretty fucking badass to accomplish something so great so far. And how old are you?
24.
You're a fucking baby.
I guess
I'm a decade older than you, man.
In 2 weeks, I'll be 25 in 2 weeks.
Yeah, so. I mean, fuck, man. I think I was I was probably like kicking indoors in Iraq when you were like, swimming in your dad's nutsack or something like that. You know what I mean? I'm old as shit then compared to you, but that's fucking awesome, man. Congrats on all the success and the future success, man. I look forward to the 1,000-pound deadlift when it comes, man. Hopefully you'll be number 3 ever to do it.
Hopefully.
It'll be fucking epic shit, man. I mean, that's legendary shit in powerlifting. That's what we're here to do, man, is create our own fucking legends, of ourselves and stuff like that. So
absolutely.
Thanks for coming again, man. Cailer Woolam, where can they find you at on your social media platforms?
Dr. Deadlift, Instagram, and just Cailer Woolam on YouTube. And those are kind of my 2 main platforms. Don't add me on Facebook. If I don't know you, I won't accept your friend request.
I'm saying mine.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
If I don't personally know you, I will just ignore your friend request on Facebook. Right. So don't waste your time.
All right, man. It's Casey Mitchell, that One Leg Monster. You can find me on Instagram at that One Leg Monster, YouTube, that One Leg Monster, and this is the Herbstrong Cast, and we are out.